In the summer of 1914, Europe was a powder keg waiting to explode. The great powers, empires ruled by kings, emperors, and fervent nationalists, were balanced on a knife's edge. On one side stood the Triple Entente, France, Britain, and Russia. On the other, the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austro-Hungary, and Italy. These alliances, born from decades of diplomacy and suspicion, concealed deep fears and ambitions. Germany, a new industrial giant, had shattered the traditional balance of power. Austro-Hungary clung to its diverse empire, fragile and fracturing. Italy, hungry for greater influence, eyed its neighbors with calculating desire. The fuse was lit on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austro-Hungary, heir to the throne, was assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old Serbian nationalist. This single act unleashed a cascade of ultimatums, mobilizations, and declarations of war that would engulf the world. By early August, the gears of war were turning relentlessly. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and Russia, bound by Slavic ties, mobilized to defend its ally. Germany, pledging support to Austria-Hungary, declared war on Russia on August 1st, then on France 2 days later. On August 4th, German troops stormed into neutral Belgium, shattering its neutrality guaranteed by Britain. British Prime Minister H.H. Asquith declared war, rallying a nation not yet ready for the horrors to come. 6 million men marched eagerly into battle, dreams of glory giving way to a nightmare of mud, blood, and steel. The German Schlieffen Plan sought a swift victory by encircling Paris through Belgium, but Belgian resistance at Liège delayed the advance, allowing the Allies to regroup. The summer of 1914 gave way to winters and years of static warfare. Trenches stretched for hundreds of miles from the North Sea to the Swiss Alps, a forbidding landscape of barbed wire, mud, and death. In September 1914, at the Battle of the Marne, Allied forces halted the German rush, saving Paris, but locking both sides into a deadly stalemate. The war's face changed forever, with industrialized slaughter. Machine guns mowed down waves of soldiers, artillery barrages shattered bodies and minds, and poison gas introduced a new dimension of terror. The horrors of Ypres in Belgium in 1915 saw poison gas unleashed for the first time by Germany. Chlorine clouds forced troops from their trenches, a nightmare of choking pain, but also a glimpse into humanity's capacity for cruelty and innovation in destruction. The conflict transcended Europe's limits. In East Africa, German commander Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck waged a relentless guerrilla war against British colonial forces. In the Pacific, the Battle of Coronel off Chile's coast saw Admiral Maximilian von Spee's East Asia Squadron sink British cruisers, only to be sunk weeks later at the Falklands. Farther east, Japan declared war on Germany, seizing its colonial possessions like Qingdao in China, expanding the war's reach. In the Middle East, the Ottoman Empire, allied with Germany and Austro-Hungary, clashed fiercely with Russia. Ottoman forces shelled Russian ports like Odessa and Sevastopol, while Russian troops pressed into Anatolia. This global theater revealed both human resilience and the devastating impact of imperial rivalries on millions beyond the European continent. By 1916, battles like Verdun and the Somme epitomized war's relentless cruelty. Verdun, under General Erich von Falkenhayn's command, became a grinding battle to bleed France white, costing hundreds of thousands of lives in a brutal war of attrition. The Somme offensive, initiated by the British in July 1916, is remembered for its staggering casualties, nearly 60,000 British soldiers killed or wounded on the first day alone. the human mind strained under incomprehensible loss. Soldiers endured shell shock, an early recognition of psychological trauma. The war forced a reckoning with human nature. Were we fundamentally violent and self-destructive, or victims of blind political ambition? Philosophers like Sigmund Freud and later existentialists would grapple with these questions, confronting the dual nature of humankind capable of immense brutality and profound compassion. A new world emerges. In 1917, revolutions rocked Russia. The Tsar was overthrown, replaced by Bolsheviks, who pulled Russia from the war, but unleashed new ideological conflicts. Meanwhile, the United States entered the war in April 1917, tipped by Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare and the sinking of the Lusitania in 1915, which claimed 1,198 lives, including American citizens. The end came in November 1918, with an armistice that brought silence to the guns but left deep wounds on nations.